Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com for life coaching and mentoring. I think this is video number 1,000, right? 1,000 videos. That's a lot. I never thought I'd have enough information in my head to make 1,000 videos. But apparently every day I can come up with a new topic to think about and to talk about. So let's keep going. And I'm assuming that this channel is helpful to somebody. If I can help one person, I'm good with that. This whole channel is dedicated to you, whoever that one person is out there. You feel happy. You have a whole YouTube channel dedicated just to you. There's not a lot of other people watching. It's just us, brother. It's just us. Let's talk about subjective beliefs. I've thought about this topic on and off for a pretty long time because it keeps arising. And it's interesting to me how some people truly are subjective people. They believe that there is no real truth in the world, that everything is open to opinion. Everything is really just seen from your eyes, digested from your own point of view with your own set of filters over your lenses, and the whole world and everything in it, everything said, every smell, every taste, every sound, everything is really just your own perception from your own perspective. And it's completely different for somebody else. And this very notion makes it so there is no real truth. Outside of my opinion, there's nothing that is solidly the way it is. My opinion makes it. My viewing of it and the filters that I have, the twisted life that I've lived and all the traumas that I have and whatever else, all of that makes up you is what creates your world. And there is no real truth. This is the subjective belief. This is particularly common amongst liberals. Liberals absolutely believe that the world is subjective, not objective. So evil is not objective. We can't say that's evil because what might be evil in your culture, according to your religious beliefs or spirituality or philosophy or whatever, may not be evil to somebody else. And then they go down the line, literally with everything. You could even do this with a little bit of science mixed in and say, do you see that car over there? I just bought a red Mustang. Oh, but it's not red. Red is just a subjective belief. And you could go scientifically into how color works and how your eye works and suggest these things. Well, what if you're colorblind? And if you're blind, is it still red? And whatever. The thing that annoys me about the subjective belief system is that there is no truth, that we can't stand on anything. I believe in truth. I believe that there are some things that are true, and you can repeat those experiments. Gravity is true. And you say, well, it's true except for when it's not true. On Earth, it's always true. Try to find a place on Earth where there's no gravity. Sure, they may have the mystery spot in your town. You ever been to one of those? The mystery spot? They have one in Santa Cruz mystery spot. They even have cool t-shirts you can buy that says the Santa Cruz mystery spot. But all it is just a house built funny. So when you roll a ball, you think it's supposed to go downhill and it looks like it's going uphill, and it's just an illusion. It's not like that's some sort of, you get dumb hippies that go there and they play drums and they think that it's like a vortex and some kind of fucking fantasy science fiction shit. There is truth. There are facts. The subjective person will debate any fact. Is there such thing as a woman? What is an XX chromosome? What is an XY chromosome? They say, oh, it's all subjective. Identity is subjective, not objective. Everything is fluent. And when you believe this subjective philosophy, when you really think that there is no actual truth, the world has no meaning. People have no value. Because meaning and purpose don't exist to the subjective. knowledge is subjective. You think you're so smart? Well, you might not be. We can't even determine anything. There's nothing measurable. Because where do you start from? In the subjective belief, everything breaks down. The whole world breaks down. Inches. Inches is just a philosophy. There's no such thing as inches. To the objective person there is, and they get a ruler out and they say, look, motherfucker, that's an inch. That's a fucking inch, you dumb shit. And the subjective person is like, nah, man, there's no inches. Alan Watts has a really amusing speech about this exact topic, about inches. He's a big subjective hippie, high on acid most of the time, and I like Alan Watts, but he's one of these types back in the 60s that was promoting this philosophy, and a lot of people latched onto it. In the subjective belief, there is no real knowledge, there is no real truth, there is no real meaning. And you get people that they have this kind of attitude of not knowing anything. And it's hard to take seriously because some of these people that are liberals, that are subjective believers, like say for example, Alan Watts was highly educated, incredibly intelligent, high IQ, a brilliant person, probably a genius. Goes around and says stuff like, well, I don't know. How does this work? I don't know. Is there any truth? I don't know. Is this up and is this down? I don't know. What's a woman? I don't know. And you just want to shake them, and you do know, you dumb fuck. Why are you playing this game? And it's this game of subjectivity. So what does the subjective believer hold value to if everything falls apart? They hold value to this black and white world of power versus powerless. And you can look at power versus powerless as strong versus weak, but it's not always strong versus weak. Because you can have an incredibly strong person who has no power. So then, what is power? To the subjective person, to the subjective believer, power is the only thing that really exists. And you can go back to Derrida, Foucault, Nietzsche, all kinds of philosophers. They talked about power. They believed in power only. And the liberals, they believe in power. That's the only thing that really exists is power. And the powerless. And that's all the world is a fight of the powerless against power. And power is defined as negative, as the power over others. They've taken it so far to where a strong man is looked at as a threat instead of as a gift. Strong men have built the world, but to the liberal, to the subjective mind, strength is looked at as something to be afraid of. They even have articles, what was it, in the New York Times or Washington Post, talking about how working out, going to the gym, working out a lot with weights, strength training, is akin to white supremacy, is somehow negative. Oh, you work out, you're a total douchebag. Oh, you're a big jerk. Because you just want to be powerful. You're probably a racist oppressor. Power is oppression. And there's a constant fight against oppression, against this notion of power. Tear down anything that is powerful. And that's all that matters. It's such a weird world to live in. And it seems kind of odd to me because the subjective mindset, the subjective believer doesn't believe in anything, and everything is just open to opinion. There's nothing really true. There's nothing solid. They focus on the space between the atoms, not the atoms making up a solid image. There's nothing solid to the subjective believer. But yet, they're so definite on this fight of power versus the powerless. And it's not good against evil. Don't get the two confused. In the liberal's mind, maybe it is good against evil, whereas the weak are always the good, and the powerful are always the evil. But that's a rather communist, Marxist mindset, and that's where that comes from. And that's a whole other video. It's food for thought.